had to realize that I was worth loving, loving, loving. I had to realize that I was worth loving, loving, loving.
Before we dive back into today's conversation, I want to take a minute to personally invite you into something very special, into my You Are Worth Loving signature coaching program. This is my 12-week trauma-informed coaching experience designed to help you break unhealthy patterns, rebuild your self-worth, and create emotionally safe relationships that actually feel good for your soul. If you've been listening to the Worth Loving podcast and thinking, I'm ready for deeper support, this is your next step. Inside the program, we work together one-on-one to help you reconnect with your voice, your boundaries, and your confidence so you can stop settling for relationships that drain you and start choosing ones that honor you. I'm only taking 3 clients for the month of May because I honestly want to give each person the time, energy, and care they deserve. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to start your healing journey, this is it. Click the Stan Store link in the show notes to apply or learn more. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are worthy of love, and you are worthy of relationships that feel safe, healthy, and whole. Now, let's get back to today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Worth Loving podcast. I'm your host, Kelly W. Mitchell, and I am so glad that you're here with me today. So, yesterday on the podcast, we talked about the difference between love bombing and genuine interest. And there were so many different questions that I am going to discuss today on our question and answer session, which I'm very happy there were a lot of questions because it can really be confusing. And this is a place where we can talk about it, get some clarity so we can know what's going on and what to do if we're being love bombed, and just get that extra information after the podcast, because I can't put everything into the podcast, because if I do, you would be sitting there listening to it for an hour, and I'm pretty sure you're not going to do that. So what we are going to do is we're going to do the podcast, give you the information so you can make an informed decision when it comes to your relationships and dating. And then after that, we are going to make sure that you have the tools that you need to be able to make these informed decisions when it comes to your relationship. So, question number 1, how do I know if someone is moving too fast? This is a good question, and I hear it a lot, especially from people who are healing from emotional abuse. And to be honest, it's not even people who are healing. It's just that I believe in our society, we expect things to be fast, right? We have fast food. We get everything quickly. Even information we want, we can just type it in on the internet and find out anything we've ever wanted to know, right? So we're used to having things fast, and love is no different. We are used to trying to get love quickly instead of putting in the time and the effort. I have talked to people who wanted to quickly make money, quickly do this. So it's not something that's unheard of, right? Because we want things fast. So if you're in a relationship and you've always wanted to be in this type of relationship, and then all of a sudden you are getting this, everything you've ever wanted quickly, you meet the person, they're saying all the right things, they're doing all the right things, they're letting you know they want to have a long-term commitment, that can feel really good, right? But here's the truth. When someone is moving too fast, your body usually knows before your mind does. And even though you might think, oh, this is wonderful, they're telling me this, they're telling me that, your body might give you signs that something's not right, this is going too fast, you may want to slow down or make some decisions about the relationship, because you might feel pressured, you could feel overwhelmed, or you might feel like you're being swept into something. Feeling like you're being swept into something might be confusing because you might think you're caught up in love, or that this is an intense whirlwind of a relationship, But if you find yourself in a whirlwind of a relationship, it's going too fast. You may want to slow it down. Even though you might like how fast things are going because you want that security, you want that ring on your finger, you want that relationship, you may need to slow it down, because we have to kind of think about what we want, right? So if we want a ring on our finger quickly, if we want to be married or in a committed relationship really soon and quickly, then, this might be the pace for you. But if you want a healthy relationship and you're willing to wait for that reign from someone who is healthy so that you guys can have a healthy relationship, or if you want a healthy marriage, or just be in a good space emotionally, you may need to wait. Because when you are in a healthy space, you get to make better decisions, you can choose better, you can actually be in tune with who you are in your body and know what you're looking for and what you want. So remember earlier at the beginning of the year, we wrote down what we wanted in love. So if you know what you want in love, you know what you're looking for, slowing down is the way to go. And if someone is moving too fast, you're not going to have time to determine, is this relationship for me? Do they have the characteristics I'm looking for? Do they have my non-negotiables? Are they the person who might make a good potential partner? You're not going to have that time to think about it because you are feeling rushed and pressured and you're making decisions very quickly. And I know from experience, when I make decisions quickly, I don't always make the best decisions. So this is something to always consider when we're talking about whether someone is moving too fast. Do you feel pressured? Do you feel rushed? Do you feel like you have to go along with this? Are you overwhelmed by the intensity of this relationship instead of enjoying the relationship? If that is the case, then there is a huge possibility that someone is moving too fast. And the best way to know if someone is moving too fast is to trust your instinct. Your body will let you know. And you can trust that gut feeling that something's right and something's not right. And when you trust that gut feeling that something's not right, you can definitely stop yourself from getting involved in relationships that are going too quickly. So that is one way to know if a relationship is going too fast by how do I feel? Am I feeling pressured? Am I feeling rushed? Do I feel safe saying no? Am I confused? Your body will let you know. You might feel tense, you may feel anxious, you may feel stressed, or if you find yourself saying, this is such a whirlwind of a relationship, that may be your key to stop and realize, this might be moving too fast. So I hope that answers your question. If not, then please send me a message, DM me, or you can basically send me an email with any email address I put in the show notes, and I can go into more detail with that. Question number 2. What if I mistake genuine interest for manipulation? Okay, so that is normal. It's very difficult, especially with relationships, to sometimes know if you are being manipulated or if something is genuine interest, right? Especially if you've been hurt. Your brain does become hyper aware of danger. And all of us have been hurt. So we could just say that our brains could be hyper aware of danger. We might start second guessing everything, even healthy behavior, even healthy relationships. So here's something that could help. Look for patterns, not promises. Look for consistency and not promises to be consistent. Look for people who are consistent and not intensity. Look for respect and not pressure. Because genuine interest doesn't punish you for taking your time. Manipulation does. So if someone is trying to rush you or punish you for taking your time in a relationship, then that is a sign that this could be manipulation and not genuine interest. And guys, like I said before, trust that gut feeling, trust your instinct, because it will let you know if something is not right. That feeling you get, trust it. It'll let you know. Question 3. Why am I drawn more to intensity than calmness? Well, I think that's really easy. That's a good question. And one of the reasons I think is because intensity is like exciting, right? We want that excitement. We want that adrenaline rush that comes from being in an intense relationship, being with someone who consumes our time, and we spend time with it. We do things. And a lot of times we think that's normal in a relationship, but it's really not. This is just trauma conditioning. So if you grew up around chaos, inconsistency, or emotional highs and lows, your nervous system learned to associate intensity with connection. Calmness can feel unfamiliar, even boring at first. And I do want to say, calmness, even when you have not been in these situations, can sometimes seem unfamiliar because I think that society has normalized being in relationships that go really quickly, or being in relationships where you have these intense feelings. And most of us expect love to feel intense, okay? We expect to have that love at first sight, intense feeling like, oh, this is my person, and that person automatically knows, oh, that I'm their person. So if we have that belief about love and relationships, Then when we meet someone and they're telling us, hey, I'm your person and you're my person, it's easy to get caught up in this because this is how we see love. This is how we view it. And I think it comes to us actually reframing how we view love, right? Reframing that love doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be, immediately whether someone's your person or not. We can instead look at it like this is a chance for us to get to know someone, especially when we start dating. In early dating, it's important for us to want to get to know them. So how do you get to know people? Well, you spend time with them. You ask them questions. You see who they are. You get to really know that person. And I think that we really get to know someone before making up our mind that this is our relationship and already be at the church getting married or the chapel or wherever we are getting married before we even have our second date. I think this can go a long way in helping us to calm down and realize that just because it's intense does not mean this is the best relationship for you. And so this is why I think that sometimes we are drawn more to intensity than calmness. But even though calmness may feel unfamiliar and it may not feel as exciting, doesn't mean that it's not healthy, right? It doesn't mean that this love can't be for you because it's not intense, because it's unfamiliar. A lot of times the best relationships and the healthier relationships come from calmness and from time, people getting to know each other. So it's all just about learning to recognize peace as a sign of safety and not a sign of disinterest. So if you feel calm and you feel like, okay, well, this is going pretty well, but it's not intense and I don't have that feeling, it could be that this is really a safe relationship. And just because you don't feel intensity does not mean that you're not interested and that this may not be the relationship for you, because it actually could be, but you might be feeling a little off because you're not used to the safety or the calmness of that type of relationship. Question 4. Can love bombing happen in friendships or faith communities? Absolutely. Absolutely. Love bombing isn't linked to just romantic relationships. It can show up in friendships, in churches, in ministries, in worship, and even in workplaces. Anywhere where someone wants quick access to your trust. It can look like over-the-top praise, immediate emotional intimacy, pressure to share personal details. You're like family language early on, punishment or withdrawal when you set boundaries. So love bombing is about control. It's not about connection. And no matter the relationship type, it can happen in any type of relationship. So that's really a good question. Thank you for asking. Okay, question 5. What does healthy interest actually look like when I'm healing? So if you are in a place of healing and you're looking for a healthy relationship and healthy interest is calming, it's peaceful, it's steady, it's consistent, it's respectful. So it can look like someone who checks in without overwhelming you, someone who listens more than they perform, someone who respects your boundaries, someone who doesn't rush emotional intimacy or rush you to do things that you're not comfortable with at that stage or level in the relationship, someone who lets the relationship breathe. So healthy interest feels like calmness, peace, no chaos, right? It feels like being seen without being consumed. So that is what a healthy interest looks like. Okay, question 6. How do I rebuild trust in myself after being love bombed? That's an important question because we all know sometimes when we are in relationships or we come out of bad relationships or unhealthy relationships, that we lose trust in who we are. We don't feel like we can trust ourselves. So it's about understanding that just because we may have been in a relationship that did not work out, was not good, was not healthy, it doesn't mean that we don't trust ourselves and that we can't trust ourselves. Self-trust isn't something that you can flip on and off. It's something you have to rebuild slowly like a muscle. And I think the best way to rebuild self-trust in yourself is first, give yourself room to recognize that this happened. Realize that, yes, while you did have some part in making that decision, that you were probably manipulated, and because of things that happened in your past, it was hard to see what was going on. So give yourself grace. Give yourself kindness. Understand that it's not your fault. This can happen to anyone and everyone. And you were in this situation Not because you intentionally made bad decisions or intentionally did anything to get there, but because it can happen to all of us, okay? So give yourself that grace and permission to heal and recognize that it's not your fault. A lot of times we blame ourselves for everything. We are so much harder on ourselves. I find that when we give other people grace and space and kindness and compassion, we don't give that to ourselves. So I want you to start off by giving yourself that kindness and compassion and stop blaming yourself for what happened. And then I want you to start rebuilding your trust in yourself by starting with small decisions. Start with small boundaries. Start with noticing why your body feels and not what you think you should feel. And remember, you didn't miss the signs. You were conditioned to normalize intensity. And I think as we all are in the world that we live in with everything being so fast paced, I want you to acknowledge that you survived something confusing and now you're learning something new. And that is strength. So I don't want you to look at it like, oh, I really messed up. I made a mistake. This is horrible. I can never trust myself again. That's not true. You can absolutely trust yourself again, okay? You can absolutely realize that you didn't miss signs, but you were conditioned by the society we live in or by your childhood to normalize intensity with love. So once we begin to give ourselves grace and compassion and kindness, we can begin to see that we can trust ourselves. And just knowing that you can trust yourself, it goes a long way. And it also helps, like what we talked about last week, affirmations, reminding yourself that you can trust yourself, that you can make good decisions, that you are able to listen to your intuition and know that you're making the right decision. So you may want to listen to last week's episode of the podcast because we do talk about how affirmations can help you rebuild trust in yourself. But that is how we can start in small ways to rebuild trust in ourselves. Question 7. Is it okay to walk away even if someone seems nice? Absolutely. 100%. It is okay to walk away if someone seems nice because nice isn't the same as safe. Nice isn't even the same as what you're looking for in a relationship. There are a lot of nice people, a lot of good people who are not the people you're looking for, who may not be a good partner for you. Just because someone's nice doesn't mean that that's a good partner for you. Just because someone's a good person doesn't mean that that's a good partner for you because you guys have different interests and different values and morals and things that you guys are looking for differently. You may not be on the same page. And just because someone's a nice person doesn't mean that they are meant for you. Just because someone's a good person doesn't mean that they will make a good partner for you. So it is okay to walk away. Nice isn't the same as safe. Nice isn't the same as consistent. Nice is not the same as emotionally healthy. So it is okay to walk away. And guys, remember, you don't need to have a dramatic reason to leave. Your discomfort is enough information. Your intuition is enough. You are allowed to choose peace over pressure. It is perfectly fine. Absolutely, 100%. Question 8. How do I slow things down without pushing someone away? Well, here's the thing. Healthy people welcome pacing conversations. And so you could say something like, I'm enjoying getting to know you, and I want to take things at a pace that feels good for me. You can say something like, I'm not in a rush. I want to build something steady. And if someone reacts with anger, guilt, or withdrawal, then that's your answer. That is your answer that this person might not be the person for you, right? Doesn't make them a horrible person. It just means that they're not the person for you. Because remember, healthy interests, healthy people are going to respect your rhythm. So that is very important. So before we close, I want to remind you that if you're navigating these questions in your own life and you want a safe, supportive community to walk with you, the Worth Loving Collective on School is open to you. Inside the collective, we do talk about relationships. We talk about boundaries, emotional safety, and rebuilding self-trust and self-worth in a trauma-informed way. So you don't have to figure this out alone. You deserve support, clarity, and community. So if you feel that tug in your heart, come on and join us. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your honesty, your questions, and your courage. Healing is not always easy, but you're doing it one moment of clarity at a time. And I want you to remember as we go through this week, you deserve a love that doesn't rush you. You deserve a love that honors your boundaries. You deserve a love that feels safe, steady, and real. So until next time, I'll see you later and have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
I had to realize that I was had to realize